Finally, the world stands at the precipice of a new era in aviation technology, as China has just unleashed its most advanced supersonic jet, and the implications of this move are nothing short of revolutionary. In an astonishing display of military might and engineering prowess, the Chinese government has unveiled a fighter jet that is poised to change the landscape of modern warfare. The jet, which has been under development for years in the shadows of global defense secrecy, now marks a watershed moment in China's long-term strategy to dominate the skies with unmatched speed, stealth, and firepower. As global powers look on with a mixture of awe, fear, and skepticism, the question remains, what does this new supersonic jet mean for the balance of power, and how will the United States and its allies respond to this formidable new threat? With an eye-popping design, cutting-edge technology, and an unprecedented range, this aircraft is not just a leap forward for China, but a challenge to the air supremacy of the West, particularly the United States. Powered by revolutionary propulsion systems that break the sound barrier with ease, the jet's speed and maneuverability set apart from anything currently in operation by any other nation. The implications are staggering. A nation with the capability to deploy such an advanced supersonic aircraft can project power across vast distances at lightning speeds, shifting the dynamics of not just air combat, but naval and ground-based military strategies as well. While the U.S. and its NATO allies have long been considered the world's leaders in advanced fighter jets, China's recent leap into supersonic territory has forced a reevaluation of military tactics, defense budgets, and future combat preparedness. This jet is more than just a symbol of national pride for China. It is a potent reminder that the balance of military power is always in flux, and no one nation can afford to rest on its laurels. For the U.S., it raises immediate concerns about the vulnerability of its aircraft carriers, missile defense systems, and fighter jets, all of which could be vulnerable to the unprecedented speed and firepower of this new Chinese machine. What makes this jet even more terrifying is its versatility. It's not just a fighter. It's a multi-role aircraft capable of striking with pinpoint accuracy and evading even the most sophisticated radar systems. Its advanced stealth capabilities, coupled with its supersonic speeds, mean that it can strike before an enemy even knows it's in range, leaving nothing but devastation in its wake. This kind of technological advancement pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible, forcing a reassessment of future combat strategies and the very nature of modern warfare. With its sleek, futuristic design and terrifying firepower, the jet is a statement. It's not just about speed. It's about sending a message to the world that China is no longer playing catch-up. It's not just trying to emulate the West. It's now setting the pace for future aviation technology, and that should be a wake-up call to every nation with an interest in maintaining global air dominance. As the world watches closely, one thing is clear. China is no longer just a player on the global stage. It's a force to be reckoned with in the sky, and the rest of the world will have to adapt or risk being left behind. The launch of the supersonic jet signifies the dawn of a new age in aviation and defense, one where speed, precision, and technological supremacy will define the leaders of the future. For the United States and its allies, the task ahead is clear. Match, surpass, and outsmart this new threat with their own advancements in defense technology. Because when it comes to military supremacy, there is no room for complacency and no time to waste. The race for air superiority has just entered a new, high-speed phase, and the U.S. must lead the way. Despite the overwhelming attention that China's new supersonic jet has garnered worldwide, many experts argue that the true power of this aircraft lies not only in its remarkable speed, but in the sheer technological advancements that define it. Every feature of this jet seems meticulously crafted to push the boundaries of what fighter jets are capable of. Designed to execute complex missions with extreme precision, this new machine combines stealth, agility, and lethal power, while at the same time incorporating next-generation AI-driven targeting systems. These advanced systems allow the aircraft to gather real-time intelligence, analyze enemy movements, and make split-second decisions, essentially transforming it into an autonomous fighter jet that can operate with minimal human intervention. The implications of this are both exciting and terrifying. A jet that can make decisions on the fly could easily outperform any human pilot, giving China a distinct advantage in future air engagements. Coupled with its supersonic speed, which allows it to travel distances that other aircraft simply cannot match, this new jet positions China as a serious contender for global air dominance. It's a game changer, a terrifying new weapon in China's already impressive military arsenal. Now, the question on everyone's mind is, how does this development affect the United States military strategy? The U.S. military has long prided itself on its technological edge, but this new Chinese jet represents a challenge like no other. The U.S. has no choice but to take this threat seriously, and as such, experts are already forecasting a new arms race in the skies. The United States, known for its cutting-edge air power like the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, now faces a dilemma. How can it keep pace with China's advances without sacrificing its own technological superiority? One answer may lie in the development of even more advanced fighter jets and supersonic aircraft of its own. The U.S. has already begun exploring several next-generation fighter jet projects, including the highly anticipated FXX, a successor to the F-22 Raptor. However, as history has shown, staying ahead of the curve in military technology is an ongoing battle. What China has done with the supersonic jet is not just a leap forward in terms of raw power. It's a shift in the way future wars will be fought. The jet's combination of speed, stealth, and intelligence-gathering capabilities creates an entirely new paradigm of warfare, and the United States must now take urgent action to counter this emerging threat. But the U.S. is not alone in its race to maintain air superiority. NATO, as one of the world's most powerful military alliances, has also felt the pressure from China's breakthrough. NATO allies have been scrambling to enhance their own air capabilities, investing heavily in the development of their own fifth-generation fighter jets. Countries like the United Kingdom, France, and Germany are working together to design the Tempest fighter jet, which promises to rival China's new supersonic aircraft in terms of both stealth and firepower. This collaboration signals a strong commitment to maintaining the West's air dominance. But even with the Tempest's cutting-edge technology, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. As China continues to innovate at a rapid pace, the race to maintain air superiority becomes more urgent, more critical, and more expensive than ever before. The balance of power in the sky is shifting, and for the first time in decades, the West is feeling the heat from an adversary that has the resources and ambition to challenge its reign. The launch of China's new supersonic jet has also sparked heated debates about the future of warfare. For years, military analysts have discussed the possibility of a new kind of air combat, one where speed, stealth, and precision play a larger role than ever before. With the introduction of the supersonic jet, China has made that possibility a reality. Unlike the dogfights of World War II or even the high-speed engagement seen in recent conflicts, future air battles may be decided in a matter of seconds, with pilots barely having time to react before the threat is neutralized. The jet's ability to travel at supersonic speeds means it could strike an enemy target with near instantaneous speed, making it virtually impossible for most air defense systems to intercept. In an era where air superiority is often the key to winning wars, this development could shift the tide in China's favor, forcing the United States and its allies to adapt to a new kind of conflict. There's also the looming issue of missile defense. With the advent of hypersonic missiles, which are faster and more maneuverable than traditional ballistic missiles, the threat to both air and naval assets has never been greater. China's supersonic jet, designed to outpace modern radar systems and missile defense, could easily evade current technologies, making it an even more formidable adversary. This, in turn, could force the United States to rethink its reliance on conventional missile defense systems, investing more heavily in advanced countermeasures and next-gen interceptors to neutralize threats before they can reach their targets. On the other hand, the success of China's supersonic jet presents a unique opportunity for global cooperation, especially among U.S. allies. As tensions rise and the specter of a new arms race looms, there may be a growing recognition that the most effective way to counter this threat is through collective action. While nations like Russia and India have expressed concerns over the development of such advanced weaponry, they also see the value in joining forces to maintain peace and stability in the face of this escalating arms race. The U.S. and NATO may soon find themselves in a unique position where they must collaborate more closely than ever before to ensure that they stay ahead of China's rapidly advancing military technology. This could include joint ventures, shared intelligence, and the pooling of resources to develop new fighter jets, missile systems, and other cutting-edge technologies. The geopolitical stakes have never been higher, and the future of global military power now depends on the ability of Western nations to unite and confront this new and powerful threat. As China moves ahead with its plans to deploy these supersonic jets, one thing is clear. The global military landscape is shifting in ways we could not have imagined just a few short years ago. While the United States and its allies will continue to lead the charge in developing the next generation of fighter jets, the advent of China's supersonic technology will force them to accelerate their own programs. In this new era of air warfare, the question is no longer whether a nation can afford to invest in cutting-edge technology. It's whether it can afford not to. With China's new supersonic jet, the age of rapid, high-speed, ultra-lethal combat has arrived, and the world must prepare for what comes next. For the U.S. military and its allies, the task is clear. Maintain dominance, innovate faster than ever before, and adapt to an unpredictable and fast-changing battlefield. Because in this new era of warfare, speed and precision will make all the difference, and only those who can keep up will emerge victorious as China's military capabilities evolve with the introduction of their most advanced supersonic jet. One must not overlook the intricate details of its design, which go beyond sheer speed and power. This new jet represents a culmination of China's decades-long investment into cutting-edge aerospace technologies, a process that has taken place under the radar of global scrutiny. From its sleek, radar-evading fuselage to the innovative engine technology that propels it at speeds that rival the fastest aircraft in the world. This jet stands as a testament to China's determination to challenge U.S. air superiority. What makes this aircraft particularly formidable, however, isn't just its raw speed. It's the highly advanced AI and avionics systems that are embedded within its design. The jet's artificial intelligence allows it to make autonomous decisions in combat scenarios, reducing pilot error and increasing the aircraft's lethality exponentially. In combat, these AI-driven systems can analyze threats, assess the battlefield, and even take the necessary evasive action in real time, all without requiring a human to make a single decision. The future of aerial warfare is clearly moving in this direction, where machines are more than just tools. They become active participants in the battlefield. This technological leap raises serious concerns for the U.S. Air Force, which has long been a leader in air combat capabilities. While American aircraft like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II are still considered the gold standard in stealth technology and multi-role versatility, this new Chinese supersonic jet has the potential to outpace these venerable machines in a direct engagement. U.S. air defense systems, such as the Aegis ballistic missile defense system, have been designed to counter threats at various altitudes and speeds, but a jet capable of flying at extreme speeds, combined with advanced countermeasures, could evade detection and render traditional air defense systems obsolete. This poses an existential challenge to U.S. forces, as it undermines one of their core advantages, air superiority. The speed of the supersonic jet is one of its most fearsome attributes. Capable of reaching Mach 3 or more, it has the ability to close the gap between combatants faster than ever before. This means that in a hypothetical conflict, an adversary such as China could launch a surprise attack, delivering a devastating blow before the United States or its allies have time to respond. When you factor in the jet's range and ability to refuel in midair, the window of opportunity for retaliation becomes even smaller. For military strategists in Washington, this means the United States must be prepared to engage in high-speed, high-stakes operations where decision-making is critical and responses must be executed almost instantaneously. The prospect of having to engage with a supersonic adversary forces the U.S. military to reconsider its approach to aerial warfare altogether, accelerating the development of next-generation fighter jets, hypersonic missiles, and advanced drone technology to match China's growing capabilities. Meanwhile, China's global ambitions are no secret. The country's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has strategically placed Chinese infrastructure in key regions across the globe, from Africa to Central Asia, solidifying its economic and military footprint in areas traditionally dominated by Western powers. The deployment of this new supersonic jet is not just about asserting dominance over China's immediate region. It's about projecting power on a global scale. For China, military superiority is not just about defeating adversaries. It's about establishing a geopolitical presence that will allow the country to dictate the future of international relations. The new jet fits into this larger strategy, reinforcing China's goal of establishing itself as the world's preeminent military superpower. With this jet, China is not only competing with the U.S., it is positioning itself as the leader of a new era of military technology. The implications of this are clear. China's rapid technological advances in aviation and defense are not just a threat to American air power. They are a direct challenge to the global order that the United States has shaped since the end of World War II. In response, the United States has been working tirelessly to upgrade its own capabilities, not just in terms of aircraft, but across its entire military infrastructure. The Pentagon's latest budget allocations are evidence of this shift, with a focus on hypersonic weapon systems, artificial intelligence, and next-gen fighter jets designed to counter emerging threats from China, Russia, and other potential adversaries. The U.S. military is also investing in advanced radar systems that are designed to detect supersonic and hypersonic threats before they enter a combat zone. These systems, however, are still in the developmental stages and may not yet be ready to counter the full spectrum of threats posed by China's new supersonic jet. This leaves the U.S. in a precarious position. While it continues to innovate and develop next-gen systems, it is playing catch-up against an adversary that has already made significant strides. The geopolitical ramifications of China's new supersonic jet are profound, particularly for the U.S. and its allies in the Pacific. The South China Sea, an area of strategic importance to global trade, has long been a flashpoint in U.S.-China relations. With the introduction of this advanced aircraft, China now has the capability to control the skies over this crucial region, further consolidating its territorial claims and challenging the U.S. Navy's ability to operate freely in international waters. This creates a dangerous dynamic where the U.S. and China could find themselves on the brink of conflict, each side unwilling to back down from their respective positions. The presence of this new aircraft, capable of launching precision strikes at targets across vast distances, only intensifies the urgency for the U.S. to maintain a visible and decisive presence in the Pacific. As the balance of power shifts, there is a growing sense that the United States must not only maintain air superiority, but also bolster its naval and ground-based defense systems to ensure it is prepared for challenges ahead. But China's new supersonic jet is not the only weapon in its arsenal. The development of hypersonic missile technology, which can travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5, is also a major concern for the United States. These missiles, designed to defeat even the most advanced missile defense systems, could render U.S. air and naval assets vulnerable to swift, devastating attacks. This convergence of supersonic and hypersonic technology presents a multifaceted threat to American military dominance, one that requires a coordinated and multifaceted response. For the U.S., it means investing in missile defense systems that can counter hypersonic threats while simultaneously advancing air combat technologies capable of neutralizing high-speed aircraft like China's supersonic jet. It is clear that the next decade will see an accelerated arms race in both the air and space domains, with China leading the charge in many respects, forcing the United States to adapt or risk falling behind. On the global stage, the reaction to China's technological leap is mixed. While some nations, particularly in Europe and Asia, have expressed concerns over the growing Chinese threat, others see an opportunity to work with China, acknowledging that the development of advanced technologies, such as this jet, could usher in a new era of global collaboration. Russia, for example, has long been a rival to both the U.S. and China in terms of military technology, and its response to China's new jet has been closely watched by analysts worldwide. In many ways, China's rise is also an opportunity for Russia to strengthen its own military partnership with China, potentially creating a new axis of power that could challenge the U.S. and NATO. This geopolitical shift has not gone unnoticed in Washington, which now finds itself facing a two-pronged challenge: China's military ascendancy and Russia's growing alliance with Beijing. The United States' response to this complex, evolving situation will define the next phase of global military power and set the tone for international relations for years to come. As China prepares to deploy the supersonic jet in full operational capacity, one thing is clear: the global military balance is on the brink of a profound shift. The United States, once the undisputed leader of the skies, now finds itself in a race against time, racing to develop and deploy technologies that can match and eventually surpass the capabilities of China's new aircraft. But this is not just about technology. It's about the strategic and geopolitical implications of a rapidly changing world order. In the aftermath of China's unveiling of their most advanced supersonic jet, the world watches with bated breath as this moment marks more than just a new page in military aviation. It signals a seismic shift in the very framework of global power dynamics, sending shockwaves through defense communities across continents, especially in Washington, where policymakers, military strategists, and intelligence agencies now scramble to assess and counterbalance a threat that has leaped forward with remarkable speed and precision. The jet, a culmination of aggressive research, reverse engineering, cyber espionage, and original innovation, reflects China's bold ambition not merely to defend its territory, but to command the skies with a level of dominance that was once the sole domain of the United States. With its ultra-low radar cross-section, scramjet-powered engine, next-gen stealth coatings, and unmatched avionics suite, this aircraft is not only invisible to most additional radar, but can deliver payloads or reconnaissance from extreme distances with split-second decision-making power by artificial intelligence. While the U.S. maintains formidable assets in the F-22, F-35, B-21 Raider, and a growing hypersonic arsenal, the question being asked in every war room from NORAD to NATO is no longer if, but how soon China plans to deploy this capability into contested zones like Taiwan, the South China Sea, and perhaps even beyond into the international waters near Alaska, Australia, and key Indo-Pacific military installations. China's military-industrial complex has proven its capacity to absorb knowledge at breakneck speed, often turning what the West considers fifth-generation capabilities into baseline standards. It's no longer about catching up. It's about rewriting the rules of the game. This jet, likely part of a broader sixth-generation aerial dominance initiative, is equipped with real-time data-sharing capabilities, enabling it to network with drones, ground stations, satellites, and naval fleets, forming a unified combat grid, much like America's JDC-2 Joint All-Domain Command and Control concept, but refined with machine learning algorithms trained on years of simulated war games and global theater intelligence. Analysts suspect that the jet's range and loitering capacity allow it to not only act as a first strike tool, but also as a persistent surveillance and targeting platform, threatening the core structure of U.S. carrier strike groups and air bases spread across the Pacific Rim. This isn't just an aircraft. It's a flying command center, a strike weapon, and an electronic warfare platform wrapped in a titanium stealth cloak. The implications are profound. If China were to initiate a high-tempo conflict, even a localized flashpoint, this jet could neutralize key U.S. forward bases in Guam, Japan, and even reach as far as Diego Garcia, challenging global logistics and rapid response capabilities. For the United States, the challenge is now multidimensional. Maintaining air superiority, a concept that shaped every American military engagement since World War II, now depends on leapfrogging China's innovation through breakthrough programs like the NGAD, Next Generation Air Dominance Initiative, which promises a system-of-systems approach with optionally manned fighters, swarming drones, directed energy weapons, and adaptive camouflage technology. But NGAD is still in testing, and the threat is already airborne. As pressure mounts on Congress to fast-track military funding and acquisitions, there's a renewed urgency for collaborative defense strategies with allies. Japan is accelerating its FX fighter development. Australia is deepening integration with U.S. drone and satellite networks. India, too, is reevaluating its strategic partnerships, realizing that an unchecked Chinese air power monopoly could threaten the sovereignty of more than half of Asia. Even NATO, traditionally Eurocentric, is extending its eyes and ears into the Indo-Pacific, recognizing that air superiority and global security are no longer confined by oceans or borders. This new Chinese jet also redefines aerial combat doctrine. Traditionally, combat aircraft depended on human pilots for decision-making, but with onboard AI capable of processing terabytes of data from enemy movements, satellite inputs, and electromagnetic spectrum fluctuations, the need for human reflexes is being eclipsed by machine precision. This changes the very psychology of warfare. Where once dogfights were decided by split-second instincts, now algorithms determine kill chains. This shift forces a reevaluation of training, tactics, and engagement protocols within the U.S. military. Pilots now need to understand software as much as airframes. Engineers are as important as warriors. Cybersecurity specialists are as essential as bomber squadrons. The battlefield has been stretched into the digital domain, and whoever owns the processing power owns the skies. But the greatest threat this jet poses may not be its weapons or its AI. It's the narrative power it gives Beijing. China has made no secret of its goal to reshape the global perception of power by launching this jet in a highly publicized, tightly controlled demonstration. Complete with satellite footage, synchronized drone swarms, and precision missile launches, it has created a spectacle designed not only to intimidate, but to inspire loyalty among smaller nations seeking technological partners. African, Middle Eastern, and Southeast Asian countries, long courted by both Washington and Beijing, may now see China not just as an economic superpower, but as the guardian of the future battlefield. Arms sales are already predicted to spike, with several autocratic regimes eager to purchase watered-down export versions of the jet. This raises a nightmare scenario for U.S. defense planners, a world where American jets face near-peer platforms and proxy wars fought in deserts, jungles, and islands not even mapped in public records. Meanwhile, back in the United States, defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman are going full throttle in classified labs and hangars to meet this challenge. DARPA is pushing the envelope with stealthier drones, quantum communication links, and AI combat assistance. The U.S. Navy is revisiting carrier defense doctrine, knowing that a supersonic Chinese jet could pierce the perimeter within minutes. The Air Force is retraining entire wings to operate in satellite-denied environments. Even the Space Force is being tasked with new responsibilities, tracking, jamming, or disabling airborne threats before they breach strategic zones. It is a moment of reckoning that demands unprecedented cooperation across domains: air, sea, cyber, and space. Public opinion is shifting too. Americans, who for generations assumed their skies were protected by the best jets on Earth, are now waking up to news reports showing rival nations catching up or even pulling ahead. The pressure on the White House to respond with strength and vision is intense. Diplomatically, the U.S. must now counter Chinese influence with boldness, strengthening alliances, opening new defense partnerships, and reinforcing its global presence. Militarily, it must innovate faster than ever before. Strategically, it must adapt to reality that the next war might be decided not by who has more troops, but by who commands the air and cyber domains in the first 30 minutes of combat. This is no longer the Cold War. This is no longer about stealth bombers versus tanks. This is a race of machines.